Hi, how are you doing? I hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was great. We had the sun was out, we got family hiking, we got a lot of yard projects done and it's just a lot of opportunities to be creative, but throughout the weekend I was still feeling the sense of disappointment. I'm disappointed that on Friday we learned that we're not going to be together again. I think most of us, maybe the first week or two, this was kind of fun. It was kind of like an extended snow day. But every single student I've talked to is like, you know what, I'd rather be back. And now we finally know that we're not going to be back. And I'm disappointed that this is the seniors' last week with us for their classes. And I'm disappointed that we're not going to have the opportunity to be together as a school community to celebrate them. I'm disappointed that we didn't have, spring sports. I'm disappointed that we didn't have the May Kairos. And there's a lot of disappointments that are kind of going on, despite the fact that there's a lot to be thankful for. And this isn't how this was supposed to look. This wasn't how 2020 spring was supposed to be like. This wasn't how we had things planned. No one wants this. And still, there's many unknowns that we don't know yet. How long are we going to be like this? What's the summer going to look like? What's the school year going to look like in September? There's so many questions that we still don't have answered, and so we've got this disappointment mixed with this longing to know. And yesterday was known as Good Shepherd Sunday. And we hear these readings of Jesus comparing himself to a shepherd. And he speaks to us as like we're his sheep. And it's interesting, I think Jesus had to have a smile on his face. Because, again, I grew up in the country. My sister raised sheep in 4-H. And sheep are stubborn, and you can even say sometimes they're kind of dumb. I can remember many stories in which the sheep wanted to get someplace or do something, and we're trying to tell it to turn around, go the other way, because there's an open gate right there. But it saw what it wanted was right in front of them, and it couldn't see the open gate right behind it, right next to it. We had to force it, so many times. And sheep are kind of dumb. And Jesus, I'm sure, was smiling when he told his disciples that you're kind of like sheep. It's something funny. So what is Jesus trying to say here? Well, Jesus also talks about how the sheep recognize the voice of the shepherd, and they take peace in that they delight in it. So even despite, maybe their anxieties, maybe their confusion, they can know the shepherd's voice, and they recognize that he's there, and they recognize his peace, and they don't necessarily get the full plan. The shepherd doesn't tell the sheep what the full plan is going to be for the day or what exactly to do. It just says, hey, just go over here. And then once they get there, then it turns. And then he does this, then he does that. But the sheep don't get the full story. The shepherd does. And the shepherd eventually instills that sense of trust in the sheep. And the sheep know to recognize his voice. So I think two things for today and for this week. First of all, tell God about your disappointments. Make sure you communicate that to him. He can handle it. Tell him about your confusion, your anxiety, the unknowns, and tell God about that. But second, remember the times in which God has taken care of you. Remember the times how he has provided for you. Remember your stories in which you could rest in the Good Shepherd's lap. And remember that we are always in the holy presence of God, who is our Good Shepherd. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.